Okay, welcome everybody. This is Lance Luke and Martin Pea. Thank you for joining us. Topic today is the hidden problems in new homes. So we're going to talk about brand new homes, and we're giving another presentation about older homes, but this is the one about brand new ones. This webinar is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a Hawaii-based inspection and construction management company. So let's go right into it here. So the question is, why new homes aren't always problem-free? Well, there's a misconception. Many buyers assume that a brand new constructed house means everything is flawless. However, hidden issues can exist even before move-in day. Reality check. Even brand new homes can suffer from poor craftsmanship, rush construction, timelines, and oversight errors. Causes of hidden problems. The contractors rush, maybe the developers putting the screws to them because they're saying, hey, we're behind schedule, you got to get things done faster. So there's tight deadlines causing contractors to cut corners. Substandard or incorrect materials used during construction. Inadequate quality control or supervision. If you just let workers do their own thing without supervising or inspecting, that may lead to problems. Why inspection still matters. Conducting a professional inspection before closing and again after move-in can catch defects early before they lead to bigger, costlier issues. Let's talk about structural issues, foundation cracks, and settlement. What causes foundation cracks? It could be due to improper soil compaction or grading before the slab is poured, or soil shrinkage or movement beneath the structure. Maybe poor drainage. So if water is allowed to pond near or at the foundation, it may undermine the foundation. That could be problematic. Some warning signs to look for. Uneven or sloping floors. It's supposed to be flat and level. It's not. That could be a problem. Or you look around and you see these cracks in the drywall. Your walls, ceiling corners, corners of windows, or cracks in the tile grout. That could be problematic. Doors and windows that stick or fail to close properly. Something is not aligned. It's out of alignment. If your cabinet doors or drawers or your doors or windows can't open and close properly, that could be a problem. Let's talk about some plumbing concerns. Leaks, defective plumbing, and drainage issues. There could be hidden leaks in new homes. Even new plumbing systems can develop leaks behind walls, beneath slabs, or in crawl spaces, often going unnoticed until water damage appears. Common causes. Let's talk about plumbing. Incorrect installation or loose fittings. Maybe the plumber didn't tighten it enough and then it starts leaking. Okay? Or maybe there's an issue with the material. Maybe there's a crack in the pipe. There's some inferior materials like low quality PVC or defective connectors. In the past, there was this plastic piping, commonly known as PEX, P-E-X. Now, the piping itself wasn't failing. It was the metal connectors where you join two pieces of pipe together. What happened was the zinc and brass used to corrode prematurely, especially at the hot water side, and that became a big issue. And there were class action lawsuits regarding the corrosion of the pipe, and that caused a problem. So slowly these defects are being fixed. Like I mentioned before, poor drainage site, water ponding against your house foundation. So in a new house, the water should slope away from the house foundation rather than towards the foundation. And then if the house has gutters, you don't want the gutter downspout and heavy rain cause water. There's a pool of water right against your house foundation. That's a no-no. Pretty bad condition. Also, water intrusion in your mostly drywall, but wood also, can lead to mold growth. Consequences of water damage, damage to drywall, flooring, cabinets. A lot of homes, the cabinetry were built with press wood, not solid wood. And it looks nice, but it's actually problematic when it gets wet. It starts warping, curling up, and eventually you have to replace them. Consequences of moisture problems, long-term indoor air quality problems, like maybe mold spores flying around the house and people getting sick. We're moving on to roofing and insulation problems. Rushed or careless roofing installations. We're talking about shingles improperly fastened, flashing misaligned or missing flashing. Inadequate underlayment can lead to leaks even in the first year. Signs of trouble with roofing. Water stains on ceilings or attic areas made out of wood. Damp insulation or musty odor in the attic. On the roof, you could have warped shingles or pooling water on flat roofs. We're moving on to electrical system defects and code compliance issues. Here's common issues found in new homes. Overloaded circuits or undersized breakers. So let me talk more about that. Overloaded circuit breaker is considered when you have more than one wire. So if that circuit breaker is rated for only one wire, there should be only one wire. In some installation practices, they put two wires to one circuit breaker, and that's not allowed unless the breaker is rated to handle two wires. And an underside breaker is when you have like a 15 amp breaker leading to an appliance that requires 20 amps. Okay, so your breaker is too small in amperage. Also missing GFCI or AFCI. GFCI is ground fault circuit interrupter, and AFCI means arc fault circuit interrupter. So these outlets required in areas near water sources, such as bathrooms, kitchens, garages. And it's good to test them and make sure they're working properly. Okay. Also, miswired outlets or loose connections that pose shock or fire hazard. If you see wires just hanging somewhere and not covered up, that's actually a building code violation. Not good. What are the risks of poor electrical work? Increased risk of fire due to arcing or overheating, appliance failure or power surges, and voided warranty because the electrical work isn't up to code. So there's a specific code called the NEC, National Electrical Code. And every state in the United States follows that code, or supposed to follow it. So best practices, right, for determining whether your home is nice or not without any defects is hire an independent inspector. Hire a home inspector, hire a construction inspector, architect, or another contractor who's versed in doing inspections. Do not rely mainly on the developer or contractor's inspector. A third-party professional ensures unbiased findings. So a lot of times when people are buying new homes or new condos, there's called a developer walkthrough, where you have a developer's rep there walking around and taking notes and explaining how things work and asking you, how you like the place and if you see any defects, and they're making a list. But who do they work for? They work for the contractor or developer, right? So they may not point out things that should be pointed out. So that's why it's good to have your own inspector there. And that's why we call it a third-party inspector. Very important. Let's talk about warranties. Understand all documentation that's given to you. Review your contractor's structural and workmanship warranty. So we're talking about labor and material warranty. There should be a warranty for every single building material that comes with a warranty, manufacturer's warranty, such as windows, doors, roofing, maybe appliances. So report all issues that is a problem in writing within the coverage period. Very important. Also, are you organized? Keep organized. Maintain all your records, all your inspection reports, and so forth. You're going to track all repairs, service dates, and communications for future reference. This documentation is very important because it's going to support warranty claims and resale value if you ever decide to sell later on. So basically, I went through pretty fast, but that's new homes in a nutshell. And then what you missed with giving previous webinars before, we have a whole bunch. What's coming up? We have twice per month scheduled for this year. And how do you know where to go to find it? You go to our website, askbuildingexpert.com. So we have expert websites, which now we changed the term from expert websites to resource materials or something like that. Also, we have our National Expert blog, and then the different webinar titles that you can select. You do not need a Netflix or Amazon Prime account. You can get it free, watch it anytime. And then we have books available for you. And that's about it. So if you got questions, we're here to answer it. You can contact me at 808-754-3425. Lance Luke at HawaiiBuildingExpert.com. Sorry, don't even know my own email address, but I have so many I get confused. We got so many different websites. There's HawaiiBuildingExpert.com. We have NationalBuildingExpert.com. We have Building.expert. So that's why it gets confusing at times. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Martin, see if we have any questions from our audience, and then we can continue.
Yes, Lance.
Let me stop
and
sharing.
Because of your expertise in so many different areas, locally, domestically, nationally, and internationally. That's why you got to have so many websites for all the reputation and recognition you have there. So
I know
yeah,
it gets confusing
that's
though.
why you need all that. Okay, well, let me get
One
to some
step
interesting
happen.
questions from our interested viewers here. Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, okay. Let's see. First up, we have how can buyers ensure accountability when construction defects appear after the builder's warranty has expired?
It's very simple. Make a note of the problems. Contact your contractor or developer um, by phone, also in writing. Because a lot of times there's so many people working at the company, you make a call, your message can get lost. So the best practice is to document everything via email, a letter, or something like that. And there could be a form that the developer or contractor leaves with you saying, if you have any issue, fill out this form and send it in. But you want to have a paper trail, definitely, because if your problem is fixed, but it still becomes a problem, you want to have the trail where you can reference and say, hey, my window's been leaking from the beginning. I notified you 3 different times and it's still leaking, right? So that looks pretty bad. So you have to keep track of your records because what happens is if the developer loses their records, they can say, well, we weren't notified and your warranty's over now. So you're on your own. So make sure that you have the evidence and keep it in a safe place. Okay, so number one, identify the issue. Number two, send it in writing. Number three, follow up. If you don't get a response, send another request. Now, further to that, you might have your own inspector come in to look at the windows, or an architect or a contractor. Let's say windows are leaking. You can hire another window contractor to come in and then check it out. Get the report, attach the report to your notice to the developer, and say, hey, it's been leaking. Look, I had a professional come and check it out. Here's a copy of his report, to help you. Okay, now we're not saying every single building material is manufactured correctly. It could be a defect in the material. And we're not saying that every single workmanship issue is 100% accurate. So I can tell you for a fact that humans make mistakes. You have contractors pounding nails, screwing things in, and there's a tendency for mistakes to be made for various reasons. And that's why it's very important to follow up. I don't think anybody can say, no matter who they are, as a developer or contractor, that we do 100% good product with no defects. It's just par for the course. Okay, so hopefully I answered that question.
Yes, I think you did, Lance. That's a good answer. And just, I guess my comment as a homeowner, um, the first problem that I encountered for myself with this is making sure I have the warranties. So I guess that's where it all starts, is making sure you've got the warranty docs on all these different things that have the warranty, so at least have some kind of sense of what the warranties are about. Because I think for my wife and I personally, when we first did things, we didn't realize we needed to get warranties on so many things, with whether it's the windows or different construction aspects. So that's what we've learned as just simple homeowners is make sure you know what all your warranties are, or asking the contractor that you're working with. Make sure you get all that. I don't know if that's a standard operating procedure for uh, contractors and builders, but it's something that we've learned to ask a lot about. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. It should be standard operating procedure, and it is if you buy a new condo, say in a luxury building. They give you this 3-ring binder with warranties and all that. I've seen so many single family houses, new, not track, and there's no warranties given, no paperwork, nothing. So when there's a problem and I get called to help out, I say, well, let me see the warranty. And they go, oh, this is all the contractor gave us. And all it is a construction contract. So if you're tuning in and you just had a house built, um, and you don't have any warranties, contact the contractor and request warranties for each item that comes with a warranty. And I can tell you that doors, windows, walls, your siding, your roofing, it all comes with warranties. That's the building manufacturer warranty. Even paint. Now, it's good to have the warranty documents and check it, because otherwise it's kind of embarrassing. The homeowner picks up the phone, calls the contractor and says, I noticed that you waterproof my porch and the waterproofing is peeling off now. So I want you to come and fix it. And they did the work 8 years ago. And the contractor says, oh, but there's only a 5-year warranty. So we're not coming back because your warranty's over. So it's kind of embarrassing. So if you knew that the 5-year warranty period expired 3 years prior, you wouldn't call the contractor and tell them come back and do it for free, right? You could call them and come back and say, oh, I noticed that I missed the deadline. My warranty expired 3 years ago. Can you come back and, re-waterproof it and let me know how much it is and I'll pay you. So it's that kind of thing.
okay, thanks. Yeah, I just thought I'd give you my experience and share that. Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay. Next question we had from someone of interest here is how can third-party inspectors maintain objectivity when their reports conflict with the builder's own inspection results?
Very interesting. I'll give you a scenario. I've done many developer punch list inspections, and I don't think there was one that my report was consistent with the developer's inspection report. In other words, I had way more things than the developer had on his report. And it gets to be an issue only because the person that's the developer's rep it's not necessarily trained as a home inspector. So he might not know electrical, plumbing. He may know building issues and appliances and all that. The other thing is, and this is a true story, my list had 50 items and the developer's rep list had 10 items. So big difference, right? So it got to be a situation where I told the buyers, hey, this is not acceptable. And then I found out that there's a tolerance. The developer has tolerances for certain building components, such as inspection of painting. Okay, so the tolerance or the criteria is you have to inspect the paint from 5 feet away. So in other words, I have to be 5 feet or 6 feet away or 10 feet away to look at the wall. I can't go up 3 feet or 2 foot from the wall and look and say, oh, you have a painting problem, because that exceeded the developer's criteria. Right? Does that make sense? What's worse is they have a tolerance for conditions for cracking. So if you have cracks in the wall, right, the cracks have to be bigger than a width. So if you can fit a quarter in the crack, then that's outside of the tolerance, right? If the crack is big and you can fit a dime in, then that's in the tolerance. So in other words, the contractor is not required to fix the crack because it's not within or outside of the tolerance. Okay. Another thing is grout conditions in the shower, things like that. So there were actual defects that I picked up, but it was within the developer's tolerance, sloping floors and all that. So it was pretty bad. There was one building I inspected. They shimmed up in the kitchen the cabinets about half an inch on one side, and the other side the cabinets were sitting right on the floor. So what does that tell you? Either the cabinets were off or the floor is off, right? The cabinets were not off. It was a floor that was sloped so drastically they had to shim up one side. And guess what? The developer said, oh, that's within the tolerance. We're not pouring the slab exactly perfect, level, and flat. And when I read their tolerance information, they were correct. So I was kind of surprised. Even there was one area that they had carpet in it, and it didn't make sense for carpet to be in a dining room. So the buyer wanted the carpet taken out and laminate flooring put in. What happened was when they removed the carpet, the laminate flooring contractor came in and said, wow, this floor is not even that level, so we have to fix it before we install the laminate. So the developer got called back. And what happened was the developer said, oh, our floor, we agree that it's sloped, but it's within the tolerance, so we're not going to fix it. Guess what? The buyer had to pay extra for the laminate flooring contractor to level the floor in order for them to lay their laminate flooring on. So, yeah, there's issues. And the developers don't want third-party inspectors to come in. And that's why they only give like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Like I go and inspect a condo unit, I'm going to want at least an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And so they're scheduling all these units, right? One by one after the other. And they say you only have 45 minutes to do your inspection. So I basically tell the buyers, my report's not going to be complete. But you know what? After you close, I'll come back and do my own inspection and take as long as I want. I can't be rushed. So, would you rush an inspector who's inspecting your unit that you're buying and paying $1.2 million? I wouldn't, right? Or you have a health condition and you go to the doctor and say, oh, I have a busy schedule, doctor. I'm going to give you 30 minutes to diagnose what the problem is and then I'm out of here. That's not fair to the doctor. If I was a doctor, I'd say, sorry, find another doctor. I'm not going to treat you under or try to diagnose you under those conditions. Because if I miss something, you're not giving me time to investigate. Because I got to ask questions, right? It's different. When you go in, you see the doctor can ask you questions. When I'm inspecting a unit, I can't ask the unit questions, right? So I have to try my best and try to look for things. I can ask the developer's work questions, but chances are he's not going to know too much, right? Okay, I think I talked about that for a while, so
Yeah, and so I mean that's first time I heard about the tolerance thing. But I mean, is there any kind of recourse for people buying, or I would think that's especially true with condos where it's mass production and all, and this tolerance thing sounds like a scammy thing to me. But
yeah, well, first of all, I don't agree with their tolerances. It doesn't make any sense. Secondly, there is recourse, but the only recourse is you have to basically either sue the developer or try to mediate. And the developer is going to say those tolerances are industry standards. And then my retort or reply is going to be that very well could be industry standards for developers, but there's not generally acceptable standards for a buyer to accept, or even for an inspector. So there's a difference. So there's, as you can see, there's two sides to the issue,
oh yeah.
right? I know if you were a buyer, I wouldn't accept those standards, but the buyer's stuck because they signed all the paperwork. So when they signed their purchase contract, they already agreed to accept the standards as provided by the developer. Right? And who reads all that stuff? Right?
So,
If I were buying the unit and I said, give me the standards, and I would read the standards and go, I'm not going to buy this unit because the standards are unacceptable. Right? Their tolerances are questionable.
really,
right?
if you get cracks and stuff like that in your building or whatever, and it sounds like if you was doing a single family home and you had that kind of issue, it'd be a whole different story. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's the same tolerances where they pour a concrete driveway, right? Single family home, they pour a concrete driveway. There's cracks. So the homeowner calls a contractor, oh, I got cracks. Can you come and look? And the contractor looks at the cracks and says, oh, this is regular cracks. It's normal. All right, here's what we can do. Can you monitor the cracks every 3 months, 6 months, and call us back in 1 year and let us know how it looks then, or take photos and send it to us? That's acceptable tolerance, right? And some will go, oh, okay, we'll patch it then. It doesn't look good, although concrete cracks. Everybody knows. I get so many calls. Brand new driveway, brand new walkway is cracking. And I say, where is it cracking? Right? It's normal. The soil settles, the concrete dries out, it cracks at different places. Some walkways, they didn't put any joints. It's called control or construction joints. And those joints are made purposely so if the concrete's going to crack, it's going to crack right at that joint. So it's not that noticeable. Hey, so
Wow.
there are
thanks
different
for,
things going on.
exposing those kind of things. I never knew about that, as a homeowner, buyer, or whatever. But yeah, that's too bad, especially when you're spending big bucks like condos, $1 million things like that. That's then you get all kind of problems like that. That's to me as a buyer, it's unacceptable. Like you say, your choice is buy no buy. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter how much it is. I've inspected a $6 million condo, brand new, and things were wrong with it.
Wow.
And the developer says, oh, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're not going to fix it. Oh. I'm going to do an expose.
Yes, yes.
One
That
day.
sounds like a good
So,
idea, but
yeah,
that's for another webinar. So
yeah, that's right.
let me finish up our questions. I think we have
Okay,
I think a couple more here if you get the time. So
yeah.
let's hit it. So what role should local building departments or state agencies play in enforcing higher quality control for new homes and construction? Do they have a tolerance thing in there?
Well, their tolerance is even worse. Okay, so the building code, listen to this now. The building code is based on minimum standards, not above minimum, right? So if you have standards that are considered um, best, better, and excellent, the building code standard is best. It's not better, it's not excellent, it's minimum standards. The building code is not above minimum standard. So a contractor can build a house to code and the thing is still crappy, right? I'm telling you the truth because the code is the code. As long as they follow the code, they're okay, right? So that's problematic. So the contractor can say, "Hey, we built it to code, but how come things don't look good?" Well, sorry, we followed the code. So you can't nail us on not following the building code because we did. We built according to plans and specs. That's why when I work on construction projects, the plans and specs have to be complete, detailed. It has to have elevations. It has to have notes for each building item. And even if the note is one sentence, like Windows, install Windows to manufacturer specifications and installation guidelines. Siding, same thing. Roofing, same thing. Follow what the manufacturer's guidelines are. I bet you if you go to any job site, they're building a new house, and you go to the contractor and say, "Oh, I noticed you installing roofing today. Can I see the copy of your roofing manufacturer standards?" They're not going to have it. "Oh, I've been installing roofing for 30 years. I don't need to look at the standards. I know how to do it already." Okay, so that's been a problem. And then the other problem is you have the general contractor, or let's still talk about roofing. You have the roofing contractor, the guy that has the license. But is the guy that's licensed actually the person doing the work? No, in most cases. You got 4 or 5 roofers on your roof installing the roof. None of them have a roofing license. The guy with the roofing license is either in his office or going around talking to potential clients to get other roofing jobs. Okay, so that could be a problem. Now, if the workers are highly trained and know what they're doing and following the specs, I have no problem with that. But if they're not, then there's a big problem. For me to get a call to inspect a roof, brand new roof, that's leaking, I don't like that, right? So I'm thinking the contractor didn't follow what he's supposed to. There shouldn't be a leak. A brand new roof shouldn't leak, right? So what happened? Is it a material defect or is it a workmanship issue? In most cases, it's a workmanship issue. Out of 200 roofing inspections that I've done where it was a brand new roof and there was a leak, I think maybe 5 of them were due to a material defect. That means 195 of them were due to a workmanship issue. Poor workmanship, not to standard, not a material issue. So, thank you for allowing me to give you that information.
Oh yeah, That's a good thing to know. So I mean, that's a combination of materials and the training of the installers. And I like what you said. You know, that the specs or the plans or whatever identify that the presumably trained installer needs to install according to the manufactured material specs. That's almost like should be a standard of whatever, you know, contracts and stuff you do, so that it seems to provide recourse if it's not done that way, yeah, kind of thing. So
Right. Well, some manufacturers actually have certification. So every worker that works for a roofing company that wants to be certified to install XYZ brand of roofing material, they got to go through classes and get certified. And then that way, the roofing contractor can say, we're certified to install Certainty or Malarkey roofing shingles or any kind of roofing product. And that's how you have more confidence and want to use that roofing contractor because their workers are certified. That gives you more assurance that the roofing work is going to be a better quality than if they were not certified, right? And in order to be certified, the roofing manufacturer allows the roofing company to give a better warranty or extended warranty. Yeah. So these are key points to know.
oh yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think we had that experience where our roof was installed by the installers, and they were trained by the roofing manufacturers people here. So yeah, that makes sense. But it's something now that I realize it's a good rule to follow as far as the materials and the trained people that install them to protect yourself and hopefully, like you say, get better quality work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, great.
Here's another word of advice: ask.
Hmm.
Ask the contractor.
Right. Right.
Don't just put down new roof. What kind of roof are you putting down? Are you certified to install this type of product?
Right.
And then am I going to get a better warranty because of the fact that you're certified, right?
Right.
Ask questions.
Very good. I got to take some notes on this. Yeah.
I thought
Okay.
you've been taking notes the whole time.
Oh yeah, I'm always taking notes, but some of these things that are new, I got to
Oh,
reinforce by
well,
providing.
that's the reason why we record these webinars, right? So if you miss taking notes, you fell asleep, you nodded out for a bit, you can watch and take notes again.
Yeah. Okay, I get one last question here. If you're ready for this one,
Yeah.
it's how can home buyers balance trust in contractors with proactive due diligence to avoid costly surprises after moving in?
Okay, so a home buyer would get less surprises if they hired a third-party inspector to inspect before closing. Okay, if they can. If not, inspect right after closing, and then give the list over to the developer, because there's a time limit by which to file a claim. Okay, and a lot of times contractors mislead or don't provide the correct information, and they say, "Oh, you know what? We stand behind our work, so we have a 1-year warranty, and any time you find a problem, we'll come and take a look and let you know whether it's something that we can correct or we're not going to correct." Okay, and so you think, wow, that's nice of the contractor, 1 year. So after the year is over, can you still call them? I've had calls where it's a year after, 2 years after, and they called and the contractor said, "Oh, we can't come back because your 1 year warranty is over. But you have a roof leak or your window leaks. We'll be happy to refer you to a roofing contractor or window contractor." "Oh, so are they going to come in and fix it for free?" "Oh, no, they're going to give you an estimate." Wow, that doesn't sound right. So you're led to believe, the homeowner's led to believe, that after a brand new house or brand new addition or renovation is completed, you only have 1 year by which to make a claim. Guess what? Not true. You have more time. There's something called a statute of limitations and a statute of repose. So I'm here to tell you today that you have more than a year. Even if you sign on the contract agreeing that there's a 1 year warranty, there's more to it than that. You know why? Because what if your windows come with a 5 year warranty? I think yesterday I read a 7 year warranty for windows. Okay? So the contractor can't tell you, "Oh, after 1 year you can't call back." How does that work? Okay, roofing. I have a client with a 50 year warranty for roofing. He calls the contractor because there's an issue. It's 5 years later and the contractor says, "We only gave a 1 year warranty, so we're not coming back." Well, how does that work where the roofing manufacturer gives a 50 year warranty? Well, the roofing manufacturer gives a 50 year warranty for roofing material, but the contractor only gives a 1 year for labor. But what if they nailed the roofing shingles wrong? Is there still a warranty even after the year is over? If you ask me, I'd say yes, there should be a warranty. Okay? And you file a claim based on a construction defect. And the contractor, so what happens is the contractor says, "We only gave a 1 year warranty." Then you hire an inspector. So somebody like me looks at the roof and says, "The roof was not installed correctly. So because of that, there's no warranty." How can you give a warranty based on defective workmanship? So it gets kind of questionable. But the bottom line is you can still make a claim. And contractors may not like that because a 1 year warranty is over if they do give a warranty at all. But sorry, that's how it is. You gotta do good work. Some contractors will even tell you, "You know what? We're so confident in the work we do, we're going to double our warranty. We're going to give you a 2 year warranty." Wow, that's very nice of you because they want the job, right? So ask the question, right? I have windows. What kind of warranty is a windows? 7 years? Are you willing to give a 7 year warranty? They're going to say no. We're only giving a 2 year warranty. Well, what happens if the window manufacturer comes in, looks and say, "The windows weren't installed correctly, and it's after 2 years. Are you guys still willing to come back and fix it? You guys screwed up," right? These are questions to ask like before you even hire the contractor and see what the contractor says. I should make a list. Questions to ask a contractor before you hire them.
Yes.
And if they pass the test, great. If they don't, if they refuse to give you an answer or give you an answer that doesn't sound sensible or make any sense, then be hesitant to hire them because throughout the whole job, when you ask them questions, they're going to give you the same answer. Oh, we don't know. Or don't worry because we're giving you a warranty, so if anything goes wrong, we'll come back and fix it. Okay? So be very careful. And it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're not careful. So
So Lance, it sounds then like if you really want to press the issue of the warranty, because it sounds, do I understand this right that based on the materials warranty, whether it's roof or window or whatever, that if it's not installed properly by the contractor who installed the materials, that you do have a extended warranty claim based on that? Is that a correct understanding?
It's sort of like that. You have a construction defect claim,
Yeah, that's right. Defect.
not an extended warranty claim.
No, okay.
Because here's the kicker. And let's talk about roofing, because this actually happened. So the roofer doesn't nail the shingles correctly. You have strong wind, the shingles blow off. You call the contractor back, and he goes, "Oh man, the shingles. I think there was a defect in the shingles because they shouldn't blow off like that." So then you get the roofing manufacturer to come in. "Hey, can you check this roofing job?" And he looks and he goes, "I don't see anything wrong with the shingles, but I see something wrong with the way they nailed it." And then he says, "We're not going to pay any money on the claim because it's due to a workmanship problem." So if you read the fine print in every single warranty, I don't care if it's roofing, windows, siding, or whatever, okay, the fine print says this: if our product is not installed correctly according to the building code or our manufacturer specifications, period, there is no warranty, or the warranty is void. That's it. That language is in every single warranty document. So what that means is the manufacturer's off the hook. Okay? So when you think about it, how important is that? It's important that the contractor install the product correctly, otherwise there's no warranty. And it makes common sense, right? If I'm the window manufacturer and I'm selling these windows, I don't want any claim. Now, if the windows weren't manufactured correctly, there's a manufacturer defect, sure, there's a claim. But if the contractor's not installing it correctly according to our specs, we're not going to pay money to replace the windows or to fix the damage or anything. Okay? The other thing says, and let's talk about windows. If there's any damage caused by the windows leaking, right? Regardless of whether it was a material defect or a workmanship problem, we're not going to cover any damages, consequential damages. So in other words, you have Kona low, windows leak, it damages the drywall, you have mold, okay, which costs $2,500 to replace the drywall, clean the mold, and all that. You make a claim. The window manufacturer's not going to pay for those damages. Is the contractor going to pay? The contractor's going to go, "Well, we're not paying for that," or here's an estimate for us to fix all this. And there's a fight going on. Some homeowners are nice. They go, "Okay, we'll write you a check," and they just don't want to deal with the problem. They just want to get the problem fixed.
Right.
Okay, so there's all kind of stuff going on.
So is there another alternative, like you say, to take somebody to court on that? Does it become a legal issue? Or legal
Well,
thing?
if the contractor refuses, that's a legal issue. If it's a construction defect, okay,
Right.
you cannot just call your own contractor if you hired the first contractor, because there's what's called a Contractor Repair Act. And that act is the law that requires you as a homeowner to give notice to the contractor of the problem. And the contractor has time to take a look at the problem, and time to fix the problem. So you can't sue the contractor. Oh, my windows are leaking, I'm going to sue your butt. No. You have to give the contractor notice to fix it. And that's the law. And that's in most states in the United States. In Hawaii, where we live, that's the law. So when people call me and say, I'm going to sue the contractor because I don't like him, he's not willing to come back. Look, it makes all defects. I said, you can't sue him. You have to give him a chance to fix the problem. And they don't like that either. And then I say, well, the law was actually made for contractors.
No.
Protects the contractors. Why? Because it protects the contractors from getting sued left and right. And in some cases, they may not be wrong, right? So there's some advantages for the contractor because of that law.
So at that point, then you've got to go through the legal process. If he does his due diligence, whatever he does, and there's still a dispute, yeah, I mean, either you go through whatever the arbitration thing, or you do an actual legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Most
then they got to call you
construction
in to
contracts.
the expert, to tell them which is the real problem, right? Okay.
Most construction contracts have a mediation or arbitration clause built in. Now, in case there's no language as to alternative dispute resolution, either mediation or arbitration, what happens is if it goes to court, the judge is just going to say, oh, you guys go outside there, talk to a mediator. When you decide on something that's in an agreement to both parties, they come back and let me know. The courts now don't want to hear cases, so they just send them out for mediation. And you can go, oh yeah, but Your Honor, my contract doesn't have any clause for mediation or arbitration, so therefore I can just sue. And the judge can say, fine, I agree with that because I read the contract, but I'm telling you to go and mediate now. So you're at the mercy of the courts. So if you're the homeowner and you go, I don't agree with you, judge, I'm going to still sue, the judge will say, talk to your attorney. And the attorney will tell you, you're at the mercy of the court. If you don't follow, they're just going to dismiss the case. And then you're at square one again, right?
So it seems like, depending on the situation, you might as well just pay for the repairs and avoid all the legal expense of just trying to get the repair done, depending on the dollars and all that stuff. Because, I mean, it's just more hassles going through the legal process sometimes. So.
Well, that's why I always recommend, I don't want you to sue the contractor. I want you to try and settle. That's the best, because even if you sue and you win, you still lose. Why? Because if it costs $300,000 to fix all the defects, you go to court and you sue the contractor, and let's say you win everything. So the judge slams the hammer down and says, okay, homeowner, you won. Judgment in the favor of homeowner against the contractor for $300,000. Okay, the homeowner gets his check for $300,000. That's not enough to fix everything. Why? They have to pay the attorney. They have to pay the experts. They have to pay all these court costs and all that. So you deduct all that, and let's say what's left is $150,000. So you have $150,000 cash to fix $300,000 worth of problems. That's why I say you still lose, right? You're not going to come out whole. So that's why no matter how mad or how bad the contractor is in doing the work or treating you as a homeowner, I don't want you to sue. Let's try and settle it. Now, only in rare cases you go to court, but it's very risky. Even if you have the solid case and you can prove all the defects, if it's a jury trial and a couple juries don't like you, right? Or the judge got up on the wrong side of the bed and he's grumpy that day, you can't control all these factors, right? So, and people are surprised when I tell them, I don't want you to sue because you're never going to win. Oh, but I thought you said I have a good case. I said, you do have a good case, but it doesn't automatically say that you're going to win the case, right?
Well, yeah, like you say, you can win the case, but you'll never be whole as far
Yeah.
as all the time, energy, and resources you had to put into the whole process. Yeah,
So it's crazy.
I get it. I get it. So the thing is, the answer is, do all the proactive things that you say. Get your list of questions. Make sure to find the right contractor before you go and spend all your big bucks on it, on work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make
Okay.
sure your contract is written
Yeah.
very good. Even I would recommend having an attorney review it. And when the construction is going on, make sure you hire somebody to inspect the work. And don't call the inspector after and say, oh, can you inspect my house now? It's too late. The inspector can't see how they poured the concrete, how they formed the rebar, electrical, plumbing rough-ins, they're inside the wall. It's kind of unfair to the inspector to have the inspector come in. Oh, my house is just finished. Can you do the inspection? And like, oh, you're kind of calling me too late, right? I should be coming every week or every month looking at the progress of construction. I don't have x-ray vision. I can't see inside the walls. I go up on top of the roof. Oh, I can't see what's underneath. Did they use the proper roofing paper? What kind of underlayment did they use, right? I can't even see the nails. So, just good words of advice. I know we kind of stretched the webinar. We went overtime, but we don't get paid for going overtime. So, everything's cool. So, you got any last words before we sign off?
Oh no, I think I had enough words, got enough comments in, and but good, lot of hidden secrets of construction you kind of shared from tolerances. I never heard that one before. All these different tolerances that, yeah, and reinforces all the things that you do every week, every month for the benefit of the homeowners. But you got to follow the process and do it right. Otherwise, you'll pay the price later, one way or the other.
Oh, good. I'm glad you learned something from each webinar.
Yeah, always do. Always do.
Okay, great. So on behalf of Martin and myself, us, the building expert, we're going to sign off. Thank you for joining us and hope to see you at the next webinar. Aloha, mahalo.